Hansworm hat. It's been about a month since my last video, so I don't know, I wanted to come back with something really, really good. YouTube's been pretty slow recently, not really anything interesting coming out, but I think it's just because transvestigation's over, it's done. They're all trannies in Hollywood. Your neighbors are trannies, your friends are trannies, your family. So that's what this is about. You know, some of our families are worse than others. Some of us, like me, we were born into a reverse tranny family. And I guess they're all a little different, because sometimes it looks like both the parents are creatures, but my scenario actually seems pretty common. I've met a lot of other people that have similar scenarios to me, where my mom, you know, the person I call my mom, is a bio female, but I don't think that she gave birth to me. I think that the person who I call my dad is for sure a T-Rex creature, FTM. And I'm almost certain that my dad is the one that carried me, the person that I call my dad. And like, who was the sperm donor? I have no idea. It's probably just someone in my family, in my extended family, I would imagine. One of my I'll just use the things that I grew up calling them just to make it easiest. The person I call my mom, her family has a lot of inverts in it. And I haven't done like super extensive transvestigations into every single one of them, because it just gets exhausting. Like, at a certain point you just don't care anymore. But I've never really been that close to all my family. It's pretty big. I mean, we grew up around one another and all that. But so this is just letting you know, like, there's people out there like me who are just regular people that grow up in these reverse families. This is how tight their secrets are. I had no idea about any of this. I had to find out about this stuff on my own. So, and it's not just my family, my extended family, my cousins. They all throw the gang signs. They teach their inverted children to throw the gang signs. My brother throws the gang signs, my T-Rex. So I talked to there's like a group of people that are awake to this, and we all talk to one another. We have some pretty good names for these creatures now. We call the MTFs strats, short for like castrato. So I have a strat sister, so MTF sister, who's older than me, and I have a Rex bro, a T-Rex, FTM, younger brother. And I've always known, growing up there, and that's what this video is about. Well, I want to mostly tell one story, which is a psyop. I want to tell you guys that if you live in an invert family, that you've likely had psyops performed on you. Just like they do on the public, they do it on their family. And it's just the way it is. So, but growing up, I knew things were wrong. I guess I'll just talk really quickly about just general things that I knew were wrong. Like, now, looking back, I know that I was in an invert family. So my, strat sister was conventionally like Hollywood pretty. Everybody would always, oh, your sister's hot or whatever. To me, it never computed. I thought that, like, I could tell that she was what a lot of people would conventionally think is attractive, but to me, I was always kind of grossed out. But that's normal, right? I felt like, well, it's my sister, so I shouldn't be attracted. Like, I shouldn't find her attractive anyways. But certain little things, like, just for instance, my sister's neck always used to gross me out. And it was just one of those weird feelings that you have when it's just a feeling. Like, I didn't have an explanation for it, but now I know. My strat sister got a lot of strep throat. Okay, strep throat, strip throat. If you have a sister who got strep throat a lot as a child, okay, they're probably getting their thing shaved down. Their trachea, their Adam's apple. So, that's kind of a psyop. I can tell you how I know that's true. So, right, strep throat's supposed to be very, very contagious. So, mysteriously, out of nowhere, my strat sister would be just in bed one day, and she has strep throat. So I think that sometimes they're doing these procedures at nighttime and stuff like that. It's really wacky. Like, these people go to extreme lengths for this. Okay, anyways. And So she'd be in bed for a few days. She, Strat. And the reason I know that it was fake, that it wasn't really strep throat, I hated school. I always hated school. And she got to stay home from school. And I would drink her water trying to get sick. And I never, ever got sick, ever. Because she wasn't sick. She had strep throat. So that's one memory. But this video is going to be just like, so I think that this is the future of transvestigation. They're all trannies, okay? Forget about watching videos on famous people. Stop paying attention to famous people. They're all trannies. This is much bigger than that. So what the whole reason I made my channel in the beginning was to connect with people, because I knew that I couldn't be the only one like this. And I have connected with people, not a ton, but I know that there's others out there like me. So that's what this video is about. I think that it's very important that we talk about the real life stuff. That's the next step in transvestigation. So yeah, I guess I didn't say another thing about growing up, an odd feeling. I was always much more protective over my little brother, my Rex bro, than you're supposed to be protective over your sister, but I never felt like that about my sister. Like, my Strat sister, she was aggressive, just a classic Strat, just super aggressive, would like beat me up and stuff too. So, much more so. I mean, my brother was just always smaller and weaker, and I don't know. And I just felt more of that instinct to protect my younger brother. And it turns out that that's because that's my little sister. And my Strat older sister, that's actually my older brother. So freaky stuff, man, in tranny land. So I guess I have a few more stories. I'll leave the big story to the end. One thing that I think growing up was a psyop is what's up with the fact that, okay, so I can talk about my childhood, like why I'm pretty sure my dad gave birth to me and my mom had nothing to do with it. There's no pictures of my mom pregnant with me. There's no childhood pictures of me. So that's like a whole story in and of itself. I think it's possible, so maybe I could just make a whole video about this. I think it's possible that they tried to raise me as a little girl and then I just wouldn't go along with it. And I broke out, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have memories from my young childhood. My memory from my childhood's very terrible. And but there's no baby pictures of me. That doesn't make sense, but it does make sense if all my baby pictures I was wearing a dress or something and they were like, well, that didn't work out and they had to burn them all. So that's a guess. And yeah, no pregnant pictures with my mom. My dad has childbearing hips, so he's probably the one that carried me. My dad's the one that talks about me being born. My mom never talks about like, oh, when you were born this, but my dad will bring stuff like that up all the time. My dad's just I always thought my dad was like Asperger's or just weird. It's just a tranny. They're strangers, transgenders. They're strange people because they're not correct. A few more stories. Just I don't want to make this too long of a video. This is already a lot to take in. Here's a story about one of my invert cousins. I just think it's really interesting. There's all these stories, that they just stick in your mind for whatever reason. So much older than me. This one's way older than me. And we were playing a board game, Stratego or whatever. That where you have your little pieces and you have your flag and you try to find their flag. Anyways. It's like a capture the flag board game. And I was kicking his ass. Excuse my language, but I'm much younger than him. But I'm a pretty smart guy. So I was always good at board games. I could beat older people at board games all the time. But one time we were playing and he just like instantly went to my flag. And I was still doing a pretty good job, but it was like he knew exactly where my flag was. And we finished and I forget if he told me the secret or I forget if I figured it out on my own, but because when he wanted me to play, he set the board in a certain position, like in front of the fireplace. And I guess so. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I eventually figured out what he was doing was he placed me in front of the fireplace because he could see the reflection in the glass and he could see where my pieces were and where the flag was hidden. So there's the older cousin of mine cheating to beat his younger tiny cousin at a board game. And that's how these creatures are, man. They need to cheat in everything in life. They're cheaters. They're just big cheaters. And something about that story, the fact that he used a reflection, she, it's a tranny. Yeah, that's just another story from my past. My whole family's inverts. I guess here's another just big family invert story. Yeah, they don't have giant Baphomet statues all over their house and things like that. Maybe they do, hidden in closets and things. I wasn't Snoopy. But so yeah, here's a good story about my past, about my family. So big family, we all grew up together, and this is like a Christmas story. We all have personalized stockings, and so everybody has little cute winter scenes on their stockings. Guess what's on my stocking? A huge unicorn. That's it. My stocking has nothing but a giant unicorn on it. How bizarre is that? It's symbolic. It means something. It's the fact that I'm a regular in my invert family. I don't know exactly what it's all about, but I just think that's a funny family story. Okay, so yeah, I don't think I told the story yet of, there's a story that my mom always likes to bring up. So my mom is just a Satanist, do as thou wilt. She's a regular female, but just a Satanist, hates Christians. When she found out that I was Christian, she basically like cried like it was the last time that she'd ever seen me. Anyways, so there's a story that she loves to bring up. And allegedly when I was young, I was playing too rough with a rabbit, one of their favorite symbols. And I killed it, apparently. And for some reason, my mom loves to bring this story up. And this is just the type of mind games that these invert Satanist tranny families do. Why? First of all, if I was a young child playing with a rabbit by myself, why wasn't somebody watching me? It shouldn't be my fault anyways. But why would you constantly bring this story up? It's like they try to traumatize you. So that's one story from that. I guess another kind of similar story, my brother, my Rex bro, lived with me for a while. And all of our silverware and cups and stuff were disappearing. So I went and confronted him about it, and he was denying it. And then I looked in his trash can, and boom, there were cups and things inside his trash can. I was like, look, dude, there's cups in your trash can. You've been throwing it away instead of just cleaning it. And he kept denying it. The evidence was right there in front. So this is just another story of, these are creature actions. If somebody has ever been sitting there denying something in front of your face when you have evidence, that's a creature. That's just how they act. If you have people in your life that pester you for no reason, that bring up bad things from your past for no reason, they just constantly bring up, creature, man, ye shall know them by their fruits. They just act a certain way. They're children of deceit. We love truth. They love deceit. That's just the way it is. Yeah, let's just finish with the main story that I wanted to do here. They do psyops on you. So here's a story of a psyop that my family did on me. It was just a regular school morning, just for no reason. It was suggested that we go play baseball out back. This wasn't a normal thing for us to do by any means, to go play baseball out back before school. Okay, whatever. It was just a weird suggestion. So we go outside and play and whatever. Somebody bats, my brother bats, okay, my sister bats. It's my turn to bat. My little brother, my Rex bro, is behind me playing catcher. And I guess, so this is where the psyop comes in. I don't remember exactly, did I feel when I swung back a hit? I don't really, at the time it even seemed kind of bizarre. So allegedly I hit my brother in the head with a baseball bat and there was blood, but now it could have been ketchup, I don't know. It all happened really quick, and allegedly I smacked him in the head and allegedly it was bleeding a bunch. And then guess what happened? And this is how you know it's a psyop, because none of this stuff ever makes sense. First of all, we never did this. We never played baseball. What the heck are we doing playing baseball before school? That doesn't make sense. Like I said, I don't know. I don't even really remember swinging back and feeling a hit or something like that, but it's very likely that when I swung back, my Rex dad or whatever grabbed the bat or something to try to pretend like I had an impact or something. But even at the time, it seemed odd. But then the weirdest part is, get this, right after all of this commotion is happening, they put me and my strat sister in the car and take us off to school. And then my brother my Rex bro goes and gets a bunch of plastic surgery. And guess what he got a nice line scar on the eyebrow. Well, you know, that's a FTM sign. They're getting a brow implant. If you ever know little kids that had a line scar across their eyebrow, it's an implant. It's a brow implant scar. So, you know, now with training hindsight, I know my Rex bro was going and getting plastic surgery done on the face, and they perform this psyop as a cover story, and they try to pin it all on me. How psychotic is that? So that's the kind of degeneracy, the type of gaslighting, the type of satanic. And it makes it hard for me to even be around my family anymore, the fact that I know that they did these things to me and all that. But this is another story that my mom, who I'm, you know, not my mom, she loves to bring it up all the time. Oh, remember that one time that you hit your brother in the head? It's like, okay, they like to re-bring these psyops to the surface. They got to keep the story alive, right? And yeah, so that's basically it for this. I wanted to come out with something that good, and I think this is the next step for transvestigation. Transvestigation's over. We need to talk about tranny land, living in tranny land, just real life stories of tranny land. The truth shall set you free. Us humans, we got to live in the spirit of truth. These trannies, they live in the spirit of deceit, and you know, we have to rebuke that. We have to rebuke them, and the more we share our stories with one another, just the faster the healing will. I know that it's healing, so that's why I did this video. All right, God bless everybody, and thank you. I've been getting a lot of support in this past month that I haven't been around, so thank you guys very much. God bless.